Hello, everyone. Mutala here again, just trying to continue on community equity, but this time we are going to look at culture equity, which is also in relation to the communities. But in this case, we've identified a certain specific group within the community that would qualify to say culture, the behavior of certain groups within within a particular community. So let's look at culture equity. What is culture equity? Culture equity explicitly values the unique and collective culture of diverse communities and supports their existence in physical spaces, in public policies and investment, and in expression in civic and spiritual life. Furthermore, advancing cultural equity is not limited to any one sector. This is like diverse. So it's not only one sector we are looking at here. We're looking at all the sectors. For example, in Zambia, we've got different sectors. At times, when we look at the culture, it's not only limited to the behavioral aspect, but you see, maybe you've also heard something like organizational culture. Other people talk about organization culture, company culture, all those kind of things. These are all included in this culture we are talking about. But we're not going to dwell more on, let's say, company culture, organization culture. Here we are looking at the way of living. Okay, so what defines culture diversity? Cultural diversity is about appreciating that the society is made up of many different groups with different interests, skills, talents, and needs. It also means that you recognize that people in society can have different religion, beliefs, and sexual orientations to you. Most of these things you have to we've seen this all happen, but at times we don't realize that's what it is. But today we're trying just to unlock, to make people understand this is what really is all about culture diversity in relation to culture equity. We have to start taking advantage of our culture, turn that culture into certain things that we can do to benefit from our own culture. Maybe we can realize some good business out of our culture background. What defines culture anyway? Culture is the characteristics and knowledge of a particular group of people encompassing language, religion, cuisine, social habits, music, and arts. The word culture derives from a French term which in turn derives from the Latin colere, which means to tend to the earth and grow, or cultivation and nature. That's what defines culture. If you look at the way for example, if I reduce it to Zambian culture, you see that each and every province has its own cultural background, and they behave the way their culture has built them to be. So all this has to be tailored. If you're looking into terms of business wise, you find that we can take advantage of our culture background and build business based on our culture that is prevailing in a particular community. Let's look at types of culture. Types of cultures are the following illustrate examples of traditional culture. The norms. Norms are informal and written rules that govern social behaviors. You know, there's language, festivals, rituals and ceremonies, holidays, pastimes, food, and architecture. You find that what happens in Zambia mostly when it comes to, let's say, festivals or ritual and ceremonies, we have so many, depends on each province, the culture background that they follow. Each year you see that they are celebrating this culture, they are celebrating this tradition ceremony. In Eastern Province, they're celebrating Nchwara ceremony, and on and so forth. But this, if we can realize and realize equity out of whatever is happening behind the culture background of our country, you find that we can take advantage of that and use it, turn into proper business without even knowing our country will be like moving, shooting into so many directions of diversity of the economy. What are characteristics of cultural equity? First of all, here we're going to look at learned behavior. We're going to look at culture is an abstract. Culture is a pattern of learned behavior, if you should know that. Culture is the product of behavior, okay? Culture includes attitudes, value, knowledge, okay? Culture also includes material objects. Culture is shared by members of society. Culture is super organic. So I just wanted to talk about cultural equity today so that at least maybe we start looking at it in a different way other than the way we've been looking at our cultural backgrounds. Most of the time it's like, it's just part of life, and yeah, it could be part of life, but we can take advantage of that culture and turn into something profitable. So ladies and gentlemen, if you want to learn more about culture equity, please follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we are all also on Facebook. So thank you. Have a wonderful day.